Good afternoon, County Commissioners, City Council members, members of Impact Harrisburg, members of the press, and citizens of our great city. Today, we have the pleasure of announcing a partnership for our Disparity study. This project is geared towards researching the past, reviewing the current, and ultimately creating more opportunities for our minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and others to take part in city government. It is the first of many important steps towards creating that better tomorrow for Harrisburg by allowing us all to work together in a way that is equitable, efficient, and which will help the small businesses that make up the backbone of our community. It is also important that I acknowledge another first step. Partnering is going to be a cornerstone to how we operate a different city hall, especially in Harrisburg. And with that, I would like to thank Harrisburg City Council, the Dauphin County Commissioners, and Impact Harrisburg, a nonprofit based right here in Harrisburg that will be responsible for steering the contract and study. I have said before that many hands make light work, but when those hands are the best possible hands for the job, it makes the job done right. We also need to thank the business community here in the city, both for the hard work that they do and for providing work opportunities to our community. Without them, we would lose the driver of our proverbial Main Street, which is 2nd Street. This disparity study will help draw folks and organizations from different backgrounds who want to see not just success for their own business, but success for the city of Harrisburg as a whole. And for our city and the businesses that propel Harrisburg development, success is the only option, and it is only when we work together that we will truly succeed. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll now turn it over to our Dauphin County Commissioners.
Thank you, Mayor. Today marks an era of a new beginning in cooperative efforts between the county and the city of Harrisburg. And we are here today joined together in support of Mayor Williams and her administration as she looks forward to restore the core of the city of Harrisburg, neighborhood by neighborhood, benefiting the residents of the city and the county. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Commissioner Saylor.
Thank you, Commissioner Preece, Mayor Williams, Commissioner Hartwick, Mr. Singleton. I just want to say, from my standpoint, how awesome it is to be standing here shoulder to shoulder with the mayor of Harrisburg. It is awesome that we were able to come together, work together as county and city. I think this is a great start to a new relationship, and I think a sign of great things to come down the road. And I'm very glad to be a part of that. And you ain't seen nothing yet, right? And now I'd like to introduce Commissioner Hartwick.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it is great to be back in City Hall. I think we all know as the urban communities in our county go, so does the county, particularly the city of Harrisburg. And I know that we are really here signifying, and it's great to be back in City Hall, a real level of cooperation related to how we want to resolve issues in the future. Whether it be investing in small businesses, whether it is engaging our homeless community and figuring out ways to have a common message with people on the street related to resources, whether it's about job incentives, mental health services. I think we need to work in concert with both the City Council, Wanda Williams, who's been a friend of mine for over Oh, sorry, I was asked not to repeat how long that's been. And the administration, and I think, the idea of building bridges, building an opportunity for future success. And I think today is really not only a symbolic press conference that's going to talk about a really important initiative to help pave a pathway for minority-owned businesses in the city of Harrisburg to make sure that they have an equal shot at the opportunities to do business here, not only with city government, but also receiving the level of equitable funding throughout our government structure and when we're doing procurement and other contracts. This is not just, again, symbolic. I think it's going to be the stage for which we operate from here on out and attempting to try to resolve some of our regions and cities' largest crisis. So we're excited that it is a new day. We're not here to look backwards. I don't want to point fingers. We're not here to answer negative questions. We're here to talk about how we move forward and what we're going to do to be able to change the quality of life for the people that we serve. And I will tell you that this board and the city are in it together. Thank you. And it's my job to turn the microphone over to Mr. Carl Singleton, and his title is?
Chief of Equity and Compliance.
Chief of Equity and Compliance for the city of Harrisburg. Mr. Singleton.
So again, I'd just like to thank everybody, of course, Chair Priest and Commissioners Hartwick and Saylor. Of course, it's a distinct honor and pleasure that the mayor has asked me to join the administration in the cabinet position to highlight her true commitment to minority, women-owned and controlled businesses with regards to equity in a way that not only talks the talk, but walks the walk. This is a high priority of the Williams administration, both internally and externally regarding partnership opportunities. I think this is a strong sign to all businesses out there that have been disconnected in some way from both city and county government in terms of doing real partnerships, to say literally we're open for business. We will help those individuals find resources to ensure that they are adequately prepared, ready, willing, and able to partake in the various resources that are coming in. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity regarding American Rescue Plan dollars and other opportunities for funding that are coming down the pipeline. So what better way to ensure that our city residents, our county residents, and businesses have an opportunity to not only grow, but to sustain a lot of the hard work that they've oftentimes been overlooked in doing. So with that, I just, again, sincerely thank, and I was humbled by the ask to join this administration in this particular position, highlighting the disparity study. For those of you who aren't quite sure about the disparity study, this is a systemic change tool. No longer will it be acceptable and or just accepted for there not to be a certain level of minority participation. And when we say minority participation, we mean minority women-owned and controlled businesses having the equitable access to resources that are at the city level right now. And of course, the goal is to make sure that there's a foundation here at the city that others want to model throughout the county, ultimately. And that's hence part of this partnership that you see in front of you today. So without going into too much and taking up too much time, the mayor would like to open it up for questions.
Today does mark the dawn of a new era of cooperation between the county and the city of Harrisburg. For too many years, there's been an invisible fence up around the city with its partners and municipalities around the county. And we have pledged to the new mayor and her administration and city council that we are here to work together with them. You get a lot more done when you work together in a joint cooperative manner. And I have the full support of my colleagues, Commissioner Saylor and Commissioner Hartwick, to get from the point that we've been to the point to where we're going. And that is working together in a joint cooperative manner and a collaborative effort to get things done, not just for the residents of the city, but also for the residents throughout Dauphin County.
Helping businesses, having access to financial resources is in large part a lot of reasoning behind a lot of our small women-owned and controlled businesses collapsing and or not being in the pipeline to take advantage of procurement opportunities that are out there. And so what this hopefully does is gives an access point to resources that banks and other financial institutions can now look upon these businesses and say they're now not only capable in terms of qualified, but they're ready, willing, and able to get bonding, truly go out and bid on contracts, and then have set-aside type of fund in their own business. Not that we're doing set-asides, but in their own businesses so that they can bid on multiple projects just in case one stopped, everything doesn't stop for that company. So just access to opportunities with regards to resources is huge. And the disparity study will clearly highlight not only which businesses have been most negatively impacted in terms of lacking that access, but it'll talk about ways in which to make it equitable in terms of catching them up.
And how much money is being put towards this study?
So totally right now between three as a total, and of course we cannot, we keep talking about the county and the city, but there's also a third partner, which is Impact Harrisburg, and that was mentioned, and they're, I guess, pseudo-represented here because I sit on the Impact Harrisburg board as well. So it's important to talk about the three entities that are putting over $83,000 apiece into this. So the total project is $250,000. So the timelines are still out there dealing with COVID and other things. So we've basically come together at this point to show that the dollars are there. The organization that is going to conduct the study is in place. And so now we're ready. Of course, there's a budget process that just took place. And so now we're ready to really move forward into the next steps in regards to the initiatives of the Williams administration. We all see and we see what goes on. I mean, we don't need the statistics to really tell you that there's been inequities with regards to equitable inclusion of minority-owned and controlled businesses. Hey, I've done plenty of shows. I'm in the previous role, or interviews in the previous role with the Pennsylvania Diversity Coalition, with 27 News and others, that clearly showcase, and when the CARES Act money came in, how minority businesses were left out. When various resources came down the pike at the state level and federal level, minority businesses were left out. To the point of the federal courthouse. With the previous administration, and I know we're not going backwards, however, for a point of context, it was noted by having meetings with the congressional delegation that the congressional delegation kind of dropped the ball on that. And what I mean by that is when local participation was described or defined, it was defined from a federal level. And so local to the feds is the United States. Local to us is Harrisburg and Harrisburg proper, in essence, Dauphin County, with respect to our presence here today. So locally, the elected officials did not drop the ball in terms of the federal courthouse. That was at a greater level because of how local participation in regards to those RFPs being released were defined. And it was defined from a national perspective and not a county and or city perspective. So yes, we did miss the ball there. Yes, there was more of a partnership opportunity that we missed with regards to DGS because some of the same individuals that are working at the federal courthouse is working less than 3 blocks on the State Archives building. And it's reflective. We'll just leave it at that. However, this is a new administration, there's new partnerships, and when you have this type of an impact in terms of the elected officials that are standing here answering to their constituents so that we don't have another reoccurrence of what took place, the atrocities on 6th Street in terms of omission of minority women-owned and controlled businesses, we've turned that page. I'll just leave it at that. So there's always recommendations at the end of the study in terms of next steps. And then that is just understand that is just a floor. That is just a place from which our trajectory grows with regards to engagement. To go back to your point of asking what all is embodied within the disparity study, so you have to talk about what businesses are ready, willing, and able right now, and then those ready, willing, and able businesses, what type of resources or opportunities, meaning contracts, were they really afforded, and what was that percentage in terms of dollar amounts? Now, you then go into their capabilities. So it'll be defined that in the construction field, this is how many minority women-owned businesses there were. There was $100, hypothetically, to go out, and only $2 went, and that's not being facetious, only $2 may have gone towards minority women-owned and controlled businesses in terms of those RFPs. And that, in essence, is a disparity, especially when you have maybe 5% of ready, willing, and able minority women-owned and controlled businesses. So the disparity is that number in between, and then there's corrective action that gap that would address filling that gap. And understand this, is filling the gap, yes, maybe that 3%, but that's just the floor, not the ceiling. I think that was the last question.
Commissioners, thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you on this study and as well as other things, because you guys have a lot of money and I need some money. So I'm certainly going to be asking for the money. Yeah, yes.
Some coming in.
Yeah, but you have more than we have.
Why
But
you all pointing at me?
Oh, my buddy? Okay. But I invite you all this evening to come to our American Recovery Plan meeting. We designated 5 areas in the city of Harrisburg that we're going to have meetings. It's at 5:30 tonight. It's at the Boys and Girls Club. That is 15th and Hanover Streets. So please be in attendance. We have, pardon me?
Very good.
Oh, Berry Hill Street, I'm sorry. This is at Berry Hill Street. I apologize, at the Boys and Girls Club. It starts at 5:30. We will have a company there that's going to give us an overview of how we can spend the money and what we're allowed to by law. So I invite you all there this evening, and thank you again for coming today.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.